Today is a really special day for me, and I want to share with you what I learned for 20 years in London. As of today, I have officially spent 20 years in London. I came here on December the 14th in 2000. If you've been following my channel for some time, you have probably heard me mention this. The decision to move to the UK was a big turning point in my life and the catalyst for my success. Could I have managed this level of success back in Bulgaria? Yes and no. Here's what I mean. If you know the things that I know, you can most certainly build a business anywhere. But coming here is exactly what allowed me to learn. I found myself in so many new situations. I met and spoke with tons of wonderful, amazing people from all over the world, and I broadened my horizons. If I didn't go through these experiences, I probably wouldn't have tried to start a business, and so I wouldn't have had the opportunity to learn. If for whatever reason I had to go back to Bulgaria right now and start all over again, I would definitely be able to create a business there as well. But that is only because I've been through all of these experiences. And this is also why I always tell you guys, your mindset is the key to success. You need to experience this and reflect on them. You need to keep learning new things, because this is how you get better. And this goes beyond business too. The more you know about the world and the people who lived in it, the better your life will be overall. So, looking back at it, I can confidently state that coming to London 20 years ago was definitely one of the best decisions that I ever made. I came here looking for a fresh start. Before moving here, I was in a really rough spot, financially, professionally and romantically. I had just gone through a rough breakup. I was raising my daughter all on my own, and my work environment was straight up toxic. Even getting out of bed every morning felt like a massive struggle because I had nothing to look forward to. All I knew was that I can't give up. I wanted to give my daughter a better shot in life, and that responsibility was what kept me going. Looking back at it with all of my experience and knowledge, I can definitely see how you might find the story a bit silly and overly dramatic. After all, we did have a roof over our heads, and even though we struggled financially, I still managed to put food on the table, but I was absolutely miserable, and this had to change. I didn't want to be sad anymore, and most important of all, I didn't want my daughter to suffer because of it. So I packed my bags and I came to London, and I left my daughter with my parents. Of course, it took me a while to get things started. Starting a business wasn't a part of my plan. Or well, it's not like I had much of a plan to begin with. My idea was to go abroad, find a stable job and bring my daughter over, and eventually find love again and a husband, English husband. And I managed to achieve all of that, of course, but I also gained something fundamental that I didn't really understand at that time: the opportunity to learn. So here's my advice for today. Never surrender to negativity. Even if everything feels like a struggle, even if things look terrible. And this is especially important if you are starting something new. There are countless opportunities out there. All you have to do is reach out of them. So, speaking of positivity, I want to share a quick story with you right here, right now. When I first came to London, all I had was one suitcase and a bag and a total of £500 in cash, all given by my former boss in Bulgaria. But being young and making a fresh start, I also felt the end to look good. In other words, I wanted to buy new clothes, or more specifically, a new pair of shoes. And why? Listen to my story. I knew that it would take me a while to get settled in. I would need to find a decent place to live, a good enough job to be able to support myself and send money to my daughter back in Bulgaria. Nice clothes could only come after all of this was achieved. Still, no matter how I thought about it, I just wanted some new pair of shoes. Why? Before leaving Bulgaria, I had actually bought a pair of very expensive shoes. Back then I spent 50 leva, which was £10 20 years ago. And yes, this was a lot of money in Bulgaria at this time, 20 years ago. So I arrived in London with my brand new fancy shoes, full of hope and excitement. Imagine my disappointment when just a week later they got damaged. I was both angry and sad at the same time. And even though a friend offered to fix them up a bit for me, the damage was already done. It felt like everything was already falling apart. Don't laugh and know that it sounds a bit silly, but that's what it felt like back then. Unfortunately, all I was thinking is I need a new pair of shoes. And I couldn't really do much about it because I don't have money to buy a pair of shoes. I had very little money and buying a new pair of shoes was entirely out of the questions. Somehow, this managed to completely take over my mind. I was thinking about this every minute, every day. All I would think and dream about over the next few weeks were shoes. I would walk down the street and when there were no shoe stores to window shopping, I would catch myself staring at the shoes of the people passing by. Then, one night, as I was coming home from my bartendering shift, I stumbled upon a couple of blue plastic bags. It was already late and dark outside, so I couldn't exactly make out what was inside. I decided to take them home with me for further investigation, but I was so exhausted that I just dropped them off by the door and I went to make something to eat. It wasn't until much later, after I had already had dinner and I was preparing for bed, I remembered about them. So I went over, took a peek and discovered not one but two brand new pairs of fashionable shoes. To top it all off, they were also a perfect fit for me. As I was sitting there wondering what to do, and hit me, I had been praying for shoes for so long, I decided to take this as an answer to my prayers. My wish came true. Call it what you want and what you will, but I would like to believe that this happened to me for a reason. And don't get me wrong here, I'm not trying to be preachy with this. I'm not going to tell you that you have to pray every day or something, but I do it every morning before 8 o'clock and in the evening before I go to bed. And it helps me get through the rough times. It helps me remain focused and motivated. I feel like I have a lot of things to be thankful for, and this is how I express it. To say thank you, to do my gratitude, to say thank you every single morning and in the evening. This is actually a really important part of my day and my life. This also inspires me to support positive and charitable causes. I'm actively trying to support and help the people. I support different charities every single year. Actually, I have quite a few people on my team who come from less than fortunate financial situation, and I'm very happy that I can provide them with solid job. Some weeks ago, for example, I helped them set up a fund to help a village that got hit by a typhoon in the Philippines. I helped them to build a church that actually was a shelter during the typhoon for 40 people for 3 weeks. Now I want to help them to rebuild their villages. If you wish to help with anything you can, please, link is down the description below. I have sent them the first part. We collect £1,806 and they were so happy and so grateful. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is, don't be afraid to dream. Dream big. Aim for the stars. Well, you should still set up actually achievable goals. You can go from working a standard, tedious 9-to-5 jobs to business leader. This is a realistic goal and very achievable. Just don't expect to become a millionaire overnight because, well, that doesn't happen. My life is a perfect example here. I went from a small village town girl who believed that cleaning is all she will ever be able to do in her life or successful, to a successful entrepreneur, business leader and investor. I was thinking like that because I had a horrible line manager that was putting me down every single day in front of all my team that I managed 20 people, the work I was working in back in Bulgaria. So from that mind that I was thinking that I can be only a cleaner, and doesn't matter I had a high education, I had a master degree. This line manager made me feel so small that I was thinking that I'm good enough only to be a cleaner. So what's happened? I actually become a successful entrepreneur, a business leader, and investor. My first business, my cleaning company, now has over 250 cleaners. And yes, it took time. It took me the better part of 20 years, but I achieved it, and so can you. If your goal is to build wealth, for example, split it up in a smaller segments. Aim to secure your financial stability first, then aim to improve the various aspects of your life one by one, while saving and investing the majority of your income. Then continue to expand your business, start new companies, work your way up with smart investments. Some years down the line, you'll look back and see that it was all worth it. You'll be able to say, yes, I achieved my dream. Goal setting is very important. That is why I make so many videos with goal settings, ideas, methods, and so on. When you decide that you want to achieve something, your approach changes. Your mind will keep working on the idea and the background while you're doing other things. And most of the time, we don't even realize that that is happening. You are going to make mistakes. That is unavoidable. When I was just starting out, I made a ton of mistakes because I was unexperienced. Nobody taught me how to build or run a business. Nobody taught me how to manage people or interact with customers. Experience was my teacher. I didn't allow the temporary problems to bring me down. Instead, I embraced the idea that mistakes happen and I just choose to learn from them. Back then, I was very impatient. I was quick to anger and I was overprotective of my company. On the really bad days, I'd sometimes feel like everyone was trying to make things difficult for me on purpose. Of course, that wasn't the case, and with time, I changed my approach. I am a lot more patient today and I see things differently. There's one thing that still drives me up the wall: when people keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And well, I'm pretty sure you can see why. Making mistakes is fine, perfectly fine. I expect people, especially those who are new to their job, to make mistakes and don't blame them. Help them to learn. What really annoys me is when they refuse to learn. That is a bad approach, and not just for my business, but for their personal life and future as well, and for any businesses. Always give it your all. If you are doing something, you should always try to do it right. You shouldn't do it half-heartedly. Now, if you ask me, this is pretty self-explanatory, but apparently for a lot of people it isn't that obvious. I mean, I can understand where they're coming from, and it's hard to blame them for this mindset sometimes, but it's just a lousy way of doing things. It's not going to get them anywhere. If you have a mediocre, just good enough approach to everything, you get mediocre results. You live a mediocre life. I mean, if that is the way you want to do it, it's fine. But don't go complaining about it because you did it to yourself. And yes, I know that people aren't required to care about my business, any business. As a matter of fact, this is one of the core advice that I give to inspiring entrepreneurs and new business leaders. Don't expect your employees to care about your business the way you do. Nobody will ever care about as much as you do. What I do expect is that they respect themselves and their labor. I want them to care about the end result and how it affects everyone else. Because if everyone does things half-heartedly, if we never put any effort into it, then the world would be a pretty dark place, don't you think? I believe the problem here is that people treat their job just as a sort of money. Some of them, or most of them. They don't care about the act of doing something correctly. They just want to get their paycheck and get back home. But this mindset doesn't just magically go away as soon as you walk out of the office. If you give it enough time, it will spread to the other areas of your life as well. Your personal life, your relationships, and even your hobbies. And I don't know about you, but I don't like this at all. Let's move to always learn new things. I only managed to achieve so much because I was open to learning. And again, if you've been here for a while, then you probably agree with me here. Learning new things is the key to success. Skills give you the advantage, the competitive mode, which allows you to actually achieve your goals. Your goal could be anything. Landing a position in some company, opening your own business, creating a product or selling it, and so on. All of these things have a skill requirement attached to it. This is precisely why professional services are in such high demand. Yes, the internet makes it easy to connect with people and to find new employees, but there will always be people who are so good at what they do that they stand out. Naturally, these people will be able to charge more for their product or service. So, even if something horrible happened, and if I had to start all over again, I'm 100% confident that I can do it. Over these last 20 years, I work on learning more things about marketing and advertising, branding, website development and SEO optimization, social media marketing, real estate investments, long-term stock market investment, healthy living and wellness, and how to look after the environment, how to change people's mind. And since I always aim to learn more, I've also got some goals set up for this year. Into 2021, I plan to go through a couple of cryptocurrency courses, and I also want to learn how to meditate better. I will, of course, keep working on my current projects, and I'll do my best to expand a lot of my books and my courses. I love helping people and sharing what I know, so this is a permanent goal for me. Be positive and work on your mindfulness. Now I know that most of you probably aren't interested in spirituality and whatnot, so I kept this part short. Now in closing, I want to share a big dream of mine, a long-term goal that I've been working for a while now, and I really want to achieve it. I want to create a sort of retreat, 100% organic and eco-friendly retreat. I know that one day I'll be able to make this. I don't know when I will be able to do it, and I don't know where it will be. Maybe I'll manage to do it here in London, or perhaps I'll have to do it in Bulgaria. I'm still in a long-term planning state, but I know that I really want to achieve this, and I won't give up on the idea. I aim to achieve this in the next 5 or 6 years. For now, my attention is mostly focused on running my business, investing and growing my YouTube channels. And counting water, of course, because it allows me to help people in a unique way. And that is the most enjoyable thing for me, helping people. Hearing people's positive comments about how my videos help them change their lives for the better is just amazing. Also, there is something about living abroad that I want to share. As my mother often tells me, Tony, come back to Bulgaria. Enough with England already. But after all, I live here. Why? Because England gave me incredible opportunities to learn countless new things. And yes, not the country itself, but the situation in which I was in and was important. I received opportunities to not only learn and experience many new things, but to express myself in a way in which I had not even thought of while I lived in our homeland. I love Bulgaria and everything Bulgarian very much, but at the moment my life is here. A couple of years ago, I set a goal for myself and I wrote it in my wall for goals. This is why I keep talking about goals. 2-year, 3-year, 5-year goals. That I want to buy a 5-bedroom house where we can live with my daughter and her partner and my partner and future grandchildren and children, like the family does, so that we can help each other. Achieving this goal took me only 1 year, and it was a goal for 5 years. As I mentioned above, when you set a goal for yourself and write it down somewhere, that has a huge impact on your mindset. Your mind will keep working on that idea. While you do other things and you'll find a way to meet your goal, Here comes a very fine moment. You have to be an optimist at all the times. You should not have a negative approach. Do not tell yourselves, this is too difficult, or no way that could happen. Now my dream is to help others, to have this channel and to continue growing. I want to use this opportunity to thank all of you for being here with me, for watching my videos, and for being a part of our growing community. Going forward, I promise that I will keep working to improve my content and help you in every way that I can. So I really hope that you enjoy my story and what I learned in London for 20 years, and I'm sure that you got small motivation that can just inspire you to do and follow your goals and to achieve your goals. So I'd like to say thank you, and until next time, don't forget, be very motivated, stay motivated, be green and motivated. See you soon.